Little People, Big Dreams. Astrid Lindgren. Written by Maria Isabel Sanchez Vegara. Little Astrid lived with her parents and siblings on an old farm near Vimmerby, a small town in Sweden. Her childhood was very happy, so happy that she never wanted to grow up. When she was 4, her friend Edith read Astrid a story. In an instant, the room was filled with giants, witches, and fairies. They appeared from an object she hadn't really seen before, a book. Astrid did her best to learn how to read. Once she started, she couldn't stop. For her, books were almost unbearably wonderful. Before long, she had read her way through the library's collection. One morning, she woke up with a terrible feeling. Life suddenly seemed so complicated, and she didn't want to play with toys as she always had. Astrid was growing up. But being a young adult meant that she could be a rebel. Astrid was the first girl in town to cut her hair short. She then landed her first job at a newspaper. At age 19, she became a single mom when her son Lars was born. After a while, Astrid got married and had a second child named Karen. Astrid was no ordinary mother. She loved playing just like a child and was great at inventing stories. One night, Corinne got sick and asked her mother for a get well story about Pippi Longstocking, a funny name she had just made up. What a remarkable name, Astrid thought. She must be a remarkable girl too. Pippi was more than remarkable. She was everything a child wanted to be. She lived alone with a monkey and a horse in Belkula, her own cottage. She was free, happy, fearless, and the strongest girl in the world. For many years, Astrid made up stories about Pippi for Corinne and all her friends. For Corinne's 10th birthday, Astrid put them down on paper as a present for her. From beginning to end, Pippi's stories were delightful. She was wise, honest, and wild. As soon as the first book was published, she became a heroine for readers all around the world. Astrid wrote many novels and picture books about Pippi, which were translated into more than 100 languages. When Pippi made it to TV screens, Astrid worked on the screenplays, which became an important part of her work. She created dozens of other memorable characters like Rasmus, Ronja, Emil, and Lutta. Astrid received the highest recognition for her contribution to the world of books, 2 Hans Christian Andersen medals. A Russian astronomer even named a planet in her honor, Planet 3204 Lindgren. And still today, little Astrid, the girl who never wanted to grow up, lives in our heads and hearts when everyone reads Pippi Longstocking, who is always up for some fun. Astrid Lindgren was born Astrid Anna Emilia Eriksson on a farm in the town of Vimmerby in south of Sweden. Spending afternoons on hidden forest paths or roaming in fields of flowers, Astrid fell in love with the world of nature and storytelling at an early age. In the summertime, Astrid and her 3 siblings helped on the farm, working in the fields and in the kitchens of the property. There, Astrid discovered her first fairy tales, spoken over boiling pots of soup and stew that she then recounted to her parents at bedtime. At age 13, Astrid had her first story published in the Wimberby Times, and when she left school, she was hired by their editor-in-chief to write copy for the newspaper. That year, Astrid had her first child. She soon met her husband, Sture Lindgren, and a few years later, their daughter Corinne was born. Both Corinne and Lars grew up with their parents in a fun-filled apartment in Stockholm. When Corinne asked her mother to make up a tale about a little girl named Pippi Longstocking, Astrid's free-spirited, unruly character came to life. The first book, starring Pippi, was published in 1945 and became a bestseller, challenging stereotypes of what a young girl should be. 1 year later, Astrid became an editor at Swedish publisher Rabben and Sjögren, where she stayed for 30 years, writing Pippi's stories each morning before she went into work. Millions of copies later, the effervescent Pippi continues to delight readers young and old. The end.